Two cops thought they were making a routine arrest at 2:47 a.m. They kicked down the door of a black woman's house, but they had no idea she was the most feared agent in the FBI. What happened next left the entire precinct shaking, eyes fire. They thought she was just another black woman living alone in the suburbs. But at 2:47 a.m., when the officers kicked down her door, they didn't just arrest anyone. They arrested the one woman the FBI's most wanted fear the most. If this story shocks you, don't forget to like and subscribe to Gentle Words, because this night was only the beginning. The rain fell hard that night. Heavy drops rolled off the roofs like tears, making the quiet neighborhood sound like a distant battlefield. Maya Carter sat alone in her living room, wearing gray sweatpants and an old army t-shirt. Her hair was tied in a messy bun, glasses sliding down her nose as she flipped through the worn-out pages of a book. To anyone passing by, she looked like a tired woman trying to end a long day in peace. But nothing about Maya Carter was ordinary. The world didn't know her name, but behind closed doors of the nation's most secure facilities, her name carried weight. Special Agent Maya Carter, Level 1 Clearance, FBI Shadow Division. The woman criminals feared before they ever saw her face. The woman who had infiltrated terrorist rings, rescued kidnapped diplomats, and shut down entire trafficking empires with nothing more than a badge and sheer willpower. And yet, tonight, she just wanted a cup of tea in silence. The clock on the wall read 2:47 a.m. The neighborhood was asleep, but then, thud, 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 the sound rattled the front door. Not polite knocking, a pounding, forceful, controlled. Maya's body straightened instantly. Instincts, not fear. She slid her hand under the cushion where she always kept her Glock 19, the matte metal cold against her skin. Her heart didn't race. It slowed. Trained breathing, controlled reaction. Outside, two uniformed officers stood in the rain, their squad car lights flashing faint red and blue across the quiet street. Their names were Officer Jake Daniels and Officer Cole Harris, both young, ambitious, and about to make the biggest mistake of their careers. They'd received a 911 tip claiming suspicious activity at 219 West Hill Drive. It sounded routine. A black woman, alone, possible drugs in the house. They didn't double-check the source. They didn't ask for a warrant. They just came charging, adrenaline rushing like they were about to be heroes. "Ma'am, open up." Jake banged on the door again. "This is the police." Maya approached quietly, staying out of direct line with the door. Her voice came calm and clear. "Do you have a warrant? Open the door, or we'll break it down." Cole shouted, gripping his flashlight tighter. Rain dripped off the brim of his cap. Maya exhaled slowly. She'd faced armed cartels, corrupt politicians, assassins, but this was worse in its own way. Because this wasn't about danger. It was about assumption. She unlocked the door and opened it only a few inches. Her brown eyes met theirs through the gap. "You're making a mistake," Jake smirked. "We'll see about that. Step aside." Without waiting, they forced their way in, boots muddying her wooden floor. One officer grabbed her wrist roughly. "Hands behind your back," Jake barked. "You're under arrest for suspected narcotics trafficking." Maya could have ended this in seconds. Disarm one, spin the other, cuffs on them. But she didn't. She wanted to see how far their ignorance would take them. She turned, hands behind her back. Cold steel cuffs snapped onto her wrists. "You're making the worst arrest of your career," she said softly, almost like a warning. Cole laughed. "Yeah, we'll let the judge decide." As they dragged her outside into the pouring rain, neighbors peeked from their windows. Curtains moved. A porch light flickered on. People saw the flashing red and blue lights. A black woman in handcuffs. They whispered what they wanted to believe. None of them saw the FBI metal case under her living room floor. None of them saw the file labeled, "Classified, Shadow Operations." The back seat of the squad car was cold. The rain beat against the roof like a ticking clock. Maya sat upright, her gaze fixed forward. No begging, no panic, just silence. In the front seat, the officers laughed. "This is it, man," Jake whispered. "Promotion, guaranteed." They didn't know that the moment her fingerprints entered the precinct system, something else was happening 800 miles away. In Washington, D.C., deep inside the FBI command center, a red alert blinked across every secure terminal. Clearance breach. Level 1 agent detained. Protocol shadow initiated. Agent Michael Roberts, her old partner, was in his office when the alert went off. He stared at the screen, eyes wide. "Oh no. Who the hell touched Maya Carter? Within minutes, an encrypted call went out. Black SUVs roared to life. A helicopter lifted off the helipad. Where is she? A senior director barked. Local precinct, West Hill County. Get her, now, .. Meanwhile, at the precinct, Maya sat alone in a holding cell. Concrete walls, one flickering light overhead, the sound of officers laughing somewhere down the hall. She'd been in cells before, but never on this side. She wasn't angry, she was used to being misjudged before she ever opened her mouth. But she was also tired. Tired of having to prove herself in a country where her skin came before her name. She tilted her head back, closed her eyes, and whispered to herself, "Let's see how long it takes them." Cole walked by, peeking through the bars. "You don't look so tough now, huh?" She opened her eyes slowly. Calm, controlled. "You should really check my ID again," she said. He laughed. "Yeah, sure, maybe after my coffee." But at that exact moment, the computer at the front desk made a noise neither of them had ever heard before. A high-pitched, continuous beep. The screen flashed red. Jake?" Cole called out. "Something's happening." Jake leaned over the monitor. On the screen were words neither officer expected. FBI, National Security Alert. Do not detain. Contact HQ immediately. "Is this some kind of joke?" Jake whispered. Before they could process it, a deafening roar filled the night. Black SUVs slid to a stop outside the precinct, tires splashing water. The doors opened, and armed tactical agents stepped out in perfect formation. At the front of the group was Agent Roberts, wearing a black trench coat, face like carved stone. He walked through the precinct doors without knocking. His badge hit the front desk like a thunderclap. "Where is she?" Every officer froze. Cole stammered, "She's, holding cell 3. Roberts didn't waste a second. He walked to the cell, opened it himself, and unclipped the cuffs with a swift click. "You okay, Maya?" he asked. "Peachy," she said dryly, rubbing her wrists. "They didn't even Mirandize me." Roberts turned, his eyes locking on Jake and Cole. "Do you have any idea who you just arrested?" His voice was low, dangerous. "You two just cuffed the FBI's top field agent. The one cartels have nightmares about." Their faces went pale. Jake opened his mouth, but no words came out. "She's a level 1 clearance agent," Roberts continued. "And you treated her like a suspect because of what? An anonymous call? Her skin?" The entire room was silent. The rain outside roared louder than their breaths. Maya stepped out of the cell, her presence suddenly feeling 10 feet tall. She wasn't shouting. She didn't need to. Power like hers didn't need volume. She walked past them slowly. "You didn't arrest me," she said softly. "You exposed yourselves. .. Outside, the tactical team surrounded her like she was royalty. The black SUVs gleamed under the rain. Roberts walked beside her. "You want to press charges?" he asked quietly. Maya shook her head. "No, I want them to remember this night every time they look at someone like me." As the SUVs drove away, Jake and Cole stood in the doorway, drenched in shame. They'd thought they were arresting a suspect. Instead, they'd cuffed the very woman criminals feared most. Inside the car, Maya looked out the window at the falling rain. Her reflection stared back at her, strong, calm, and unbroken. She had spent her entire life fighting the world's evil, but tonight was a reminder. Sometimes, the fight isn't overseas. Sometimes, it's right at your front door. The black SUV sliced through the rain-soaked highway like a shadow. Inside, the silence was deafening. No sirens, no chatter, just the low hum of the engine and the storm outside. Maya sat in the back seat, hands resting on her lap. Her wrists still bore faint red marks from the handcuffs, marks that shouldn't have been there. She stared out the tinted window, watching streetlights blur past like fading memories. Agent Michael Roberts sat across from her. He'd known Maya for 10 years. He'd seen her break cartels, walk through burning buildings, talk hostages out of pulling triggers. But tonight, she looked different, quiet, distant, like a storm had passed through her chest and left behind ashes. "They're going to be suspended," Roberts finally said, voice low. "I don't care about them," Maya whispered. He frowned. "Then what's eating at you?" She turned to him slowly. Her eyes weren't angry, they were tired. "I can take down armed men with bombs strapped to their chests, Mike. I've stared death in the face more times than I can count. But tonight, they didn't even see me. Not the agent, not the woman who's bled for this country. Just a black face in a nice house." Her voice cracked for the first time. Not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet shatter. Robert swallowed hard. There wasn't a tactical plan for this kind of wound. Back at the FBI headquarters, the storm outside matched the storm brewing inside. A room full of high-ranking officials sat around a long table. Their faces were serious, but Maya could tell the difference between concern and fear. This wasn't about her feelings. It was about liability, press, politics. Maya, what happened tonight was unacceptable, Director Samuels began. We're initiating a full internal investigation. The local department is already under review. She folded her arms. And what happens after that? A couple of apologies? A diversity seminar? A few people shifted uncomfortably. They weren't used to seeing her speak like this. Usually, she was the unshakable one. The one who never raised her voice, never showed emotion. But tonight, the unbreakable woman had a crack in her armor. Maya, the director said carefully, we will make this right. She let out a bitter laugh. You can't make it right. You can't undo the look in their eyes when they saw me, like I was dangerous before they even spoke to me. Her words hung in the air like smoke. No one dared interrupt. She stood, straightening her jacket, her presence filling the room. I've taken bullets for this badge. I've buried friends for it. And still, it couldn't stop them from seeing me as a suspect first. Then she walked out, her boots echoing down the hallway. Each step sounded like a heartbeat. The elevator doors opened to the rooftop of the building. The storm had calmed to a soft drizzle. Maya stood under the night sky, hands in her coat pockets, looking at the city lights. She didn't cry, she'd forgotten how, but deep inside, a knot twisted in her chest. All the years of fighting, enemies overseas, criminals on American soil, and yet, this was the battle she'd never truly escaped. Being unseen in the country she'd sworn to protect. Footsteps approached softly. It was Robert's. He didn't say anything at first. He just stood beside her, the rain tapping gently on both their shoulders. You know, he said quietly, when we were in Mexico City and you dragged me out of that warehouse, I thought, she's the strongest damn person I've ever met. She gave a small, tired smile. I'm not strong, Mike. I just don't get the luxury of falling apart. That line hung heavy in the rain. Meanwhile, across town, Jake and Cole sat in the chief's office. Their uniforms soaked in shame. They had been stripped of their badges pending investigation. They'd watched the news reports. Her face was everywhere now. Top FBI agent wrongfully arrested. They hadn't arrested a stranger. They had cuffed a hero. Cole rubbed his face with shaking hands. We didn't even ask questions, Jake. Jake stared at the floor. We just saw her and assumed. The chief didn't yell. He didn't have to. You didn't just fail as officers. You failed as men, as human beings. Back on the rooftop, Maya pulled out a small, folded photograph from her pocket. It was old and faded, a picture of her father in uniform. He had been a police officer, too. I grew up believing in the badge, she said softly. I believed it would protect people like me. But it never did. My father was stopped in his own neighborhood once. Same thing, wrong place, wrong skin. And now it's me. Roberts looked at the photograph, then at her. But you are the badge now. Stronger than anyone wearing it. Maya exhaled, the cold night air mixing with her breath like smoke. That's the problem, Mike. I shouldn't have to be invincible to be treated like a person. The following morning, the sun rose slowly over the city. It was soft, golden. A quiet contrast to the storm of the night before. Maya stood in front of the mirror in her office. She buttoned up her black FBI jacket with steady hands. The world would see her as a symbol. Some as a hero, some as a headline, but inside, she was just a woman tired of fighting battles she didn't start. But she wasn't giving up. She straightened her shoulders, picked up her badge, and whispered to herself, they will see me. Ending. Emotional subscribe motive. And so, the woman they arrested walked back into the world not as a victim, but as a storm. Because sometimes the most powerful battles aren't fought with guns, but with dignity. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Gentle Words, because stories like Maya's deserve to be heard.